Hello friends, um, welcome to the new session of MS SQL. What we are going to do today, practice or a session on MS SQL, different ways of creating a table in the database. I'm 100% sure you all know how to create tables, but if you are very beginner and even never created a table, so this is a session. Here I'm not just going to give you like how to create a table, that knowledge that you already know. Rather, we will discuss some more ways to create a table, not a simple way. Of course, we will create a table with a simple way, basic way as well, but there are different ways to create a table in MS SQL database. Okay, so let's start. Today what we are going to cover is like MS SQL different ways to create a table and insert data into that table. That's why insert, because there are many ways to insert data into a table. It's not the way like you are always doing it. There are different tricky ways as well. And then there are some basic fundamental interview questions also. Those are very basics but tricky. We'll discuss at the end of this session. So let's start. As in my previous video, I have already briefed you about how to install MS SQL database and install SSMS um, to interact with the database. So by now you must have downloaded the software and installed and set up your machine. So let's start. Okay. So here I have SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, as you already know. Okay, and I have many databases. Out of the database today, I selected W3 Schools. This is a free database available in W3 website. In another session, maybe I will help you how to import this W3 school database in your database. But for now, you can create your own database. For this session, we can just practice anyway. Okay. Uh, in this database, under tables, under DBO schema, you can see I have multiple tables. But here, let's say, for example, I have a table says categories. Okay. Sorry. So let's execute that table, and this is the table data. So you see we have a table which says categories and having three column in it. Okay. Now first is how to create a new table in database, right? So you all know if I have to create this table categories, so let's create another table. We say create table categories 2. Okay. And if I have to create like this, and I will give category ID exactly replica of this table, int, then category name varchar 100, and category description, let's say varchar 300. You all know that we will take varchar size as per the required data set. I think 300 is sufficient. So let's create this table. Okay, and now we have another table in our tables. I refresh it. Now this is category 2 table. Okay, when you select this table, select top 1000 rows, and you see this is a blank table. Okay, because we have not inserted, we just created this table. So this is a way, a traditional way to create a table. Okay, now I'm going to give you another way to create a table. This is very tricky and simple way. So let's say if I want to make a replica of this table category, and I will make a table, let's say 2 I already created, so I will create another table. We say categories 3. Okay, how I can do, simply I will say in select asterisk into the new table name where you want to insert the data, and then your select query, and I will just do one condition, 1 equal to 2, which is never true. So when I execute this line, just see the magic. Okay, 0 row affected, but refresh your tables, and now you can see you have a categories 3 table here. Interesting. So, and if you see structure of this table, so select from this new table, and you see this is exactly same replica of that table. Okay, so if you have a given table and you want to create a replica of same table, it is not that you have to always do like this create table and all, right? We have a shortcut way to create the table schema with select restrict into new table name from the uh, original table. Okay, this is a very important statement. We don't often use this in the software development backend side, but in the data analysis side or data engineering side, this is a very commonly used way to create a replica of table. Why I'm saying this? Because mostly, let's say you have some categories here, and today you want to refresh this table, right? It refresh means you want to refresh the data of this table, but you want a backup of this table before you refresh it, right? So how you will create a backup of this table? It is not that first you will do like create table categories 3, then select from this table and insert into data, right? It's going to take a lot of time. So how simply I can just take a backup of this table. I will give another name, let's say backup. I want to create a backup of this table. This simple statement will create the backup table. Okay, but this is not creating the backup table with data. It's creating a blank table. Now, if you want to create a backup table with full data means whatever data we have in the categories table, I want the same data in this table, right? So then what I will do, I will not write this condition, okay? Because this condition is false condition, which doesn't return any row. So that's why you are getting a blank table, just a structure of table. Sometimes we need a structure of table, sometimes we need a structure as well as the data as well, right? And mostly for the backup purpose, we need a structure and data. So I will remove the condition, or you can say 1 equal to 1, which will make this condition true. When you execute this row now, execute, now you see 8 rows affected, and earlier it was 0. Now refresh the table structure again, and then you can see you have a backup categories table. When you select this table, you can see the whole data here, isn't it? It's a very good, fast, tricky way to create a replica of table. It's very useful in data analytics and data engineering. Okay, we use day in day out these statements to create a replica of table. Because whenever you want to analyze data, so let's say you want to refresh today this categories table, but you want to compare the two table after refresh, right? So you want a backup of that table as well. Now you can compare the two table because you have the data in both the table, old data versus new data. You can compare the data. There are several ways to compare the data. We'll discuss later. Okay, so here we are discussing how to create table and how to insert data into the newly created table. So how I have shown you one traditional way to create a table. I have shown you to create a table with the select into statement, right? That we are using here, right? Now I told you how to create a table structure only, which we call table schema only, or table schema with the data. So this way we created table with the data, or if you will do false condition, then it's only a blank table. Both are required. Okay, now this we done. Now let's say I want to create a table of which is replica of categories, but I don't want third column. I don't want description column. Okay, I want only two columns. So what I will do, I will create another table. We'll say category ID, category name, but I don't want description. So I will select only the two column which I want in my backup two table. Execute it. I execute it. Again, you can see 8 rows affected. Go here, you can see backup two table. Select this table. Now you have a table with 2 rows. Simple. Very simple. You have data as well as the table, right? This is a very important and tricky way to know how to create a table from another table. If you already have a given table, so in data analytics, you always have tables mostly, right? We just refresh those tables, create a backup table, create a static or final table, last year, previous year table, like those. There are a lot of scenarios where we create a lot of replica of tables, sometime with data, sometime without data. Okay, so we discussed already this. Now how to insert data into table, right? So one way to insert data into table is like you created a blank table categories 2 with these 3 column and then insert into table. You can give the name of columns, which is a good way, and then values. Name will come like category IDs, category name, and description. Okay, these are the column, and then the value, whatever the value you want to insert inside, that you will do here. I will say ID is equal to 1. This is blank table, category is AA, description of description of that category is AA. When you run this line, this will insert data for you. Okay, this is a traditional way to insert data into a table. You all know this one. But another way to insert data into the table is this way. Okay, which we already seen, where we are creating a table, new table, as well as we are creating the data, inserting the data in one go, in one statement. Okay, there are another method to just insert into this table, but not by the values. So what I will do for that, I will just do insert into this table, and we'll say select asterisk from, I want to make all the rows of this table want to insert into this table. Okay, so what I'm doing here, just check this one. This table is having 8 rows. These 8 rows I want to insert inside this table, right? So this is a way, another way to insert the data into it. Okay, so you see here, when I run this, I already have one row here with category ID 1, but let's run this, and I inserted 8 more rows here. So now when you select this table, select all the columns from this table, F5, you can see we have 9 rows now. So we inserted by values, we inserted by a select query, and then you already know an insert way using the into, which is very important. And this is a way how we can make a, like, we want to insert the old table as well as all the record of new table. So this way, whatever was already there, I mean in one row was already there in this table, that is there, and we inserted rest of the rows from the old table, which is our this table, right? And hence in the final table now we have old data, new data versus plus old data. This is another way to insert the data, right? So now you know you know how to create a table in different way and how to insert data into these. There's another way. Sometime what happens, let's say you have data in Notepad or XLS, right? And you want to insert data from there. So what I'm saying is, so let's open XLS. I have Excel. Let's insert it here. Okay, so I'm saying I have, let's say, data in Excel. How I have category ID 1, name is ABC, description is ABC, category 1 2, I have BCD, I have BCD description, I have data 13, I have HHH and GGG, and one more, let's say 14 is DH, and then this is description. Right now, let's say I want to insert these 4 rows into the same table. Okay, now this data, sometimes it happens you have an Excel, there is a different way to import data from Excel, create a new table, but here I want to insert data with the same table. I don't want to import an Excel, go with the lengthy way. There is a shortcut way. Okay, how I can do it? So I will copy paste the whole data here. Now you see how it works in select statement in SQL. So if I will do select, just write a select statement here. Then first, you know, the first column is ID. I will keep it as a first column, which is integer. Second is the disk name, which is category name is string, so in single quote, then comma, and then third column is description, again a string in a single quote. Now when you select this line, you see what SQL does. SQL is selecting it as 11 ABC, 3 column. These 3 column you need here, right? 1, 2, 3. So if you want to insert this data, you need 3 column. If you want to give name here, you can even give name ID or simply say as ID for now, as category. This is just a name, nothing to do with data. As description. Now it's selected this row, and then you see you have ID, category, and description with the column name as well, right? Now what you are going to do, you will add this select with all these rows because you want to insert 4 row. I will tell you how to insert 4 row in one go. Okay, so this is done. I will tell you how I did it. What I'm doing is actually I'm pressing shift button and alt button and just using up and down arrow to work on multiple rows in one go in SSMS. This is very important feature of SSMS where you can work on multiple rows. So shift alt upper row for down, and then if I'm using say single quote, so single quote applies for all the rows. Again shift alt down row, single quote for all the row. Here I have to give one by one. You can see now. Let's select all 4. So these are actually 4 queries now, right? But this way, if you will insert like this way, SQL will give you error because these are basically 4 different tables for now. You want these in one result, not the 4 result, right? These are 4 results. So I can do a union of all these. Okay, so I will attach, I will add a union keyword and then run again. Sorry, not this. There's nothing to union at that. Here, run it. Very important and tricky and simple way. Now you see this is one result. It is same like selecting from a table. You see table when you select is one result. Yeah, now this is simple one result, right? It's exactly similar. Now if you want to insert this data into this table, so again same insert statement. If you know that the column name are same, even you need not to give these column here. This will also work. With column, without column, if the column name and the data type and sequence is same, it will work. So now you see I have these 3 column in sequence. When I will run this statement, insert into table with selected query. This looks 4 query, but these are with union, so now it is a 1 query. When you execute, you see 4 rows affected. Now you select into this table to check the data, select strict from this table where we inserted, check it. You can see at the end now we have 4 more rows which we inserted right away. This is a very tricky important way. So when you have like 20, 10 rows from Excel, how to deal with it. Okay, it's a very simple way to deal with it. And when I'm doing union, one more important way, you need not to give this column name for every union row. So here I have given, we call it alias. So name column alias for only the first row, right? Category description, and then you can see everything will come under that only. So need not to give the alias again and again in the second row, third row, only one time. Got it? It's a very tricky way, right? So this I did it, everything we did. Now what is left is another way how to now I want to make this, let's say category 2 table, the name as category underscore backup 3. So this is the name, and if this table is having these many rows, 13 rows, I want the same row. I don't want to create a new table. I want to make this categories 2 table as a categories BKP. Let's say 3. We already have 2, so let's say BKP 3, right? So this is also a way to create new table. Basically, BKP3 is a new table. It's not present in DB, so it's a new table. But you don't want to create a new table. You want to rename this table to this table. Okay. One way to do is just to go here in left side and find your categories 3 table and click one more time or F2, and then you can rename as we rename folders in our Windows machine, and then whatever name you want to give, you can give here. It's not a good way to rename a table, okay, or any object in the database. How we can rename it? There is an store procedure in system store procedure in SQL. We call it SP. SP is the store procedure and underscore rename. So name of this store procedure is SP rename. So for renaming a table, uh, you cannot use alter or any other command. Okay, alter changes the schema of table, not the name. Okay, so to rename or name change of a table or even the column name of a table, you need to have this sp rename in SQL. There is no other way. Okay, so if someone asks you in interview, okay, there is a table categories, I am saying rename it to categories BKP3 backup 3. How to rename it? You don't say that okay, uh, alter table. As you start writing alter table, you are fail. It means you don't know how to rename a table in SQL. So I can add an execute statement before that. Even without that also it will work in SQL to execute, but you can keep it. It's a good practice. So I want to rename first table, which is categories 2 here, to categories backup 3. When you run this statement, it's done. You will get a warning, always get a warning in this statement. You will know in future why. Now if you try to run categories 2, there is no object in table with categories 2 now because we renamed it to backup 3. Now check the backup 3. You see here all the data is there in now backup 3. Correct? So you can see we created so many tables here from one table which we say categories. We created so many different type of tables to understand different ways of creating a table. Okay, now one more tricky question here. When we create a table, like just selecting all the statements, let's do again. Okay, and create one more table backup 4 from the categories. I am creating a table here one more time to explain something. Now again with the new table you have 8 rows because your original table is having 8 rows, so you created exact copy, all the column, all the data. That table you can see here, okay, in left side. But what is the trick here? If you expand categories table, this is categories table, expand here and columns, you see columns are same in backup 4 as well. Check backup 4, columns are exactly same. Okay, exactly same structure, schema, everything is same. Okay, data is also same, but there is something different in the two table. And what is the difference? Check if there was any index on the first table. So you see there was an index which says IDX. It's a non-clustered non-unique index. Okay, so there was an index in the main original table, categories table, but check the index in the newly created table and you find that there are no indexes. Okay, this is a trick. This is an interview question. So when you copy the data with this way, okay, and create the structure of table, you can create a structure, you can copy the data, but this will not copy the constraint and the index of a table, of original table in the new table. So in the new table indexes are still missing. So if you want to create index on a new table, you have to create indexes separately. That's very important because index will decide the speed of your select queries. So if needed, if there are any constraint, so let's check the constraint. Here we have two constraints, and in the new table just check if we are copying the constraint. No, so you see we are even not copying the constraint as well. So this is what I'm saying. So when you create a table schema as like copy of a table with these methods or any method using create or like anyway, you have to take care of constraints as well as indexes separately, because with in the new table you can see there are no constraints, there are no indexes. That's a very important tricky question in interview. First, people you don't know that how we can create table like this. Even if they know, sometimes they don't know what happens in the schema originally, like schema and data is copied but not the constraint and the indexes. Okay, yeah, so I think let's go one more time what I supposed to cover today. I told you how to rename table. Rename, you can rename using sp underscore rename. This is a stored procedure. Give the first original old table name, comma, second table name. Okay, and uh, so if first table is dvo.categories, the second table need not to give the schema name again. Okay, so in that way you will create a table in the same schema. Or you can say This will rename your table from categories to categories backup 4. That's how we rename the table. There is no other way. Not alter command doesn't work for the rename. It's an important interview question for freshers or beginners. When someone asks, okay, how to rename a column or table, they start saying, okay, alter table, something like that. No, it will not work. Alter work only within the schema of table, not for the table name. We already discussed how to select into, how to create table, insert values. Now you know many ways. Unions is a very good tricky way to insert data into a table using the select queries and this. If you practice more, um, definitely you will understand this. Okay, these are very simple concept, but tricky concept. You can see all these queries. You can pause your videos, see these queries, and then you will understand. And you will understand. You can also see this schema of this side. Always remember, when you delete or create table, refresh this folder, then only you will see the data here. Okay. Yeah, so that's all what we covered today. I think this will help you to understand more how to create table quickly, how to copy data from one table to another, or uh, understanding as about the constraint and indexes as well. Uh, if you like it, if it is helpful, please like, please subscribe the channel as well, and see you in the next session. Thank you.